I'm going to be starting with the shoulder. Dividing my shoulder by 2 with 2, I have 7.5. And then I mark 1 inch for my arm slope, and then the remaining 7 inches for the arm length. Then I'll be making my armhole, my neck line. So I marked my neck width to be 3 inches. You could go ahead to mark whatever. So I'm just going by the standard 3 by 3, 3 by the width and 3 by the depth. Then I'll make my shoulder slope from this point to the nape. So we're starting off with the basic bodies, and I'll go ahead to just extend this line and label it upper chest line, or bust line. When that is done, I'll go ahead to add back my other measurements. Remember, we're starting from the basic bodies. All right, so once you're done with your bust line, the next thing you want to mark is your waistline, and I'll be using the length of 17. So here I have my waistline of 17 inches. The next thing I want to do is to divide whatever bust whatever my bust circumference is. I'll be dividing by 4, and I've got 9. And then my waist, when I divide my waist of 28 by 4, I am left with 7 inches. So once I'm done with this, the next thing I want to do is to make my dart. Remember, when we're starting off with a simple basic bodies, so you measure from one bust point or from one nipple to the other nipple. So the distance between the two nipples, when you get it, you divide by 2. So when I divide by 2, I am left with 4 inches. So to make it clear, what you should do is measure your shoulder to your bust point or to your nipple, exactly on the nipple of one side of your body. Then you want to make a line indicating that is your bust point. So I'll just label it bust point, and it is on this bust point line that you'd mark for the half of your bust span, which is the distance between both nipples, and make a straight line connecting the other 4 inches you marked. And on that waistline, now because I am using a bust of I am working with a bust of 36 inches, then I would be using I could actually use, I'll be using 2 inches. But if you're using a bust from 40 upwards, then you can use from 41, 42, 43 upwards, you can use 2.5. Then if you're using for a bust of 35 below till at least 32, then you can use 1.5 inches. But since I'm working with a bust of 36 inches and I want to mark for my dart intake, I'll mark 1 inch on both sides. So here are my 1 inch, which when you put together you get 2 inches. So for my dart intake, I have 2 inches. So I want to connect to the bust point. I came down by half an inch here, so this point doesn't get pointy. All right, so to remove the pointiness, that is why I came down by half an inch. That is on this point. So we're almost done with making the basic bodies. We want to go to making the armhole. Now, to make your armhole, you want to measure what you have here. So from this shoulder slope down to the bust point line, I have 7 inches. So you get the midpoint. The midpoint of 7 is 3.5. Sorry, don't mind this. So this is my midpoint. And on the midpoint of your armhole, you want to come in by half an inch. Once that is gotten, you can actually use a freehand sketch to do this. And if you have any curved ruler or French curve pattern master, you could also use. So I made sure that this curve is touching the shoulder slope point. I came in inwards and made a point, so I made sure it was touching it, and then the bust circumference, a quarter of the bust circumference mark I made on the bust line. And I want to go ahead to make a curve, which I just did. Okay, so this is simply your basic bodies. So you're done making your basic bodies. If you're to make it up, you could just add your seam allowances, and then you've made a fitted top. All right, so now let's go into the corset proper. For your corset, you need one more horizontal, you need to add one more vertical line here, and that line will be your under bust line. So you simply want to measure from your shoulder to under the bust. So for me, I'll be using 13. So I'll simply label here under bust, and I forgot to label here waistline. This is L. So because this corset will be worn as a top, I want to get the top part of the corset, I mean where it will start from. So to get that, I simply want to measure from my bust point to the under bust. Whatever I have, I'll place it on the bust point line and mark it. But because I feel it will be too low, I just want to add half an inch. If you feel half an inch is also too low, you could say okay, 4 inches from here. That is to get your the start from the start of the corset top. Do not use the 4 inches and mark the bust radius, because that is not what your bust radius is, and because there are cases where you use your bust radius to find out where your bustier starts from and how to shape and do everything. So why I am using 4 inches and why I'm using 3.5 inches is because I am just trying to get the start of the top, because it will have no yoke, it will be strapless, to be sleeveless. All right, so as I said, if you feel 3.5 will also be too low, or whatever measurement you have here, let's say you have 4. If you place 4 your bust point, from your bust point upwards, you feel it to be too high, you could also reduce it. Likewise, as if you have 3 here and you feel 3 is too low, you can also increase it. So I hope that is taken. So as I said, I'll use 3.5. So I want to make a line across here to help me know that that will be the start of the bustier, the corset bustier or corset top, whatever you may call it. So this is the start. So this part isn't needed. We don't need here. I just made here for the basic bodies, and since I want this to be very beginner friendly for those who might not understand, to get the concept of what we're doing here. All right. So now this part isn't needed. This line is what we're using now. So this coated line, I coated with red, is the start of the bustier. Right. So now we need to also get a dart from this upper part. If you don't put a dart here, in fact, you can't make a corset that way. So we need to put a dart here to help us reduce gaping, so that when you make the corset, it relaxes on your chest. All right. It doesn't. There are no holes or gaps. All right. So whatever you got here, even if you have 4, if you have 4 as your neck depth, whatever, and let's say you have 4 from here, and your 4 is from here, and your shoulder slope starts from here. You want to measure whatever you have from this point down to this point and get the midpoint. All right. So for me, I have 3. So when I measure here, I have about 4.5. So I'll mark the midpoint. And the next thing I want to do is to connect my midpoint down to this point I have here. Connect the midpoint from the shoulder down here. Okay, I don't know, does this look slanted? Okay, it's not. Okay, so I have this line, and I just want to, I don't know if this is straight, so I just connected the line down to this place. And also to this also helps in removing the point, whatever pointiness that may form here. I also want to go up by half an inch. So I came up by half an inch, right, on this point. So before we form our dart, let's do some other things before we come there. And when you look at corsets, you notice that there is this separation between the curves. There is this something like this. When you look at corsets, okay, let's say this is the top, so this is the separation. So okay, but you get what I mean. This thing here is what we want to make here. So to do that, you shouldn't go more than 0.75, or rather you shouldn't go more than 1 inch, because when you use 1.5 and more than that, it looks funny at the end, right? And it may not be able to contain the center front of the 2 busts. All right, so I'll mark half an inch. It is always better to just use half an inch, but if you feel you want to experiment or whatever, then you shouldn't. Maybe the bust is big, the chest area is really big, then 1 inch is okay. So for me, I'll be marking just half an inch on the bust point line. Note I have that half an inch here already. So this is the mark for that separation you have on the chest. Now, because we want the under bust to be tight, so that to make the cup of the of this top form really well. Now what we want to do is we want to tighten the under bust, right? Now to tighten the under bust, what I'm going to do is, you know, I had my bust circumference 36 divided by 4 gave me 9, right? And then my the under bust circumference, I have a bust circumference of 31. So when you divide by 4, I have 7.75. Now to make this tightening I talked about from the under bust, I'm going to find the difference between 9 and 7.75. So that is 9 minus 7.75. I am left with 1.25, right? So that this 1.25, I'm going to distribute it on both sides of this 1.25, right? So I got 1.25 from finding the difference of the both quarters of the bust circumference and under bust. I don't know if you get that. So remember that if you have any questions, ask in the comment section, and please remember to subscribe, share to friends, and be sure to get more videos. So I hope to be consistent with posting new videos every week. So I hope you subscribe so that you get those content filled or knowledge filled videos. So 1.25, right? So now remember I said we're going to put 1.25 on both sides. So now I'm going to divide 1.25 by 2. When I divide by 2, I am left with 0.625. Okay, so it means I'm going to put 0.625 on these sides, on the under bust, from this, not from this midline, but from this point. All right, so put in 0.625. okay, I have 0. So it will be better if I use my ruler. It's easier that way. So 0.625 is a little bit after 0.5. So I'll mark, oh sorry, that's around here. Sorry, don't mind this first mark. I need to be more careful. So I'll mark same. So make sure that, so I have a point around here. So this is it. Now what you want to do is to make a curve. When you use a curve, it gives more contour, and it contours the cup and gives it a really nice shape. So you should use a curved ruler or pattern master if you have one. So I'll make sure I connect it to this line. I'll do same to this side. So I'll use this slightly curved part of this pattern curve to finish off, making sure that it touches this point. So I am not using a ruler because I don't want any pointiness, and I want it to be contoured and well fitted and nice on the body. So this is it. So this would create that tightening effect I need, and it would make hair more structured and come out well, right? So once I have this, I want to form the cup, the curve that comes this way to form the cup. So to do that, I simply want to go up by 1 inch